Y'all, it's your girl, Dr. Malika, and I'm your host of Pivot with Dr. Malika, and I'm so glad to be here on this episode. Listen, I've got a special guest. I have known her. I say when you worked around students and you meet them when they're 18, you say I've known them since they were babies. So I've known her since she was a baby. And I'm so excited to bring her on here to Pivot with Dr. Malika to share her pivot experience. Her name is Dannie Shields. She goes by Dannie S, and she is the host of Raw Recovery, the Community. That's Raw Recovery, the Community. And we'll talk more about her podcast and what she's doing and why Raw Recovery, the Community resonates with her and why it was birthed out of her. But what I want to do is give you an opportunity to meet her, to hear her pivot experience, and to tap into the strength and the strategies that she used to be able to overcome and succeed and move into places where she's now helping others. As you know, we on Pivot with Dr. Malika, we talk to folks who have intentional or unexpected changes in their life, but I always say this, they're still winning, and she is winning. So welcome to the stage. Welcome to the show, Miss Dannie S.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Miss Malika. You are so right. You definitely watched us. I don't care. 18 is still a baby. You're not grown. And you were, like I said, you like the mama bear on the campus, and you took very good care of us. Our parents knew we
Aw,
were in good hands with you guys. That's a
I
fact.
appreciate that so much.
Definitely.
Well, you know what? You are here because you have a story.
Hmm.
And not only, I knew you when you were a baby,
Hmm.
18. And at the time you were Dannie and you
Right.
were singing in the choir,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
we
Right.
were in Punxsy. We were in
Yeah.
Punxsutawney first. You
Yeah.
were singing in the choir and doing so many different things, but we had some really wonderful conversations.
Yeah.
Fast forward 2025,
Hmm.
you have pivoted.
Hmm. Yes,
And I
ma'am.
think that this is the time to share your experience with the world.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am.
You are the host of, as I said earlier, Raw Recovery, the Community.
Yes.
You are doing social work. You are working with folks.
Yeah, I work in the
You can,
social service field. Yes, ma'am.
which is awesome. So
Mhm.
we'll talk a little bit more about that, but let's just jump into some conversations, some questions, and I want you to tell the people who you are.
Okay.
So here we go. For folks who are meeting you for the first time, which is mostly, unless they know you, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
for some of the Pivot family who don't know who you are, how do you introduce yourself beyond the titles and beyond the roles? So the question is, who is Dannie S
Mm.
at the core?
Miss Malika, I am a 37-year-old woman who is still figuring me out.
Hmm.
I if I'm being honest, because I was actually just thinking about, like, I felt like I did know who I was when I was in my 20s, but,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't even know that person anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
I still don't even know if I've completely set into my own identity just yet. Like, I'm still, like, I could say I'm a Black female, and
Mm-hmm.
I can say that I work in the social service field. Like, those are the things about me, but, like, I don't know oh God, I was hoping I didn't have to ever answer that. I don't know who I am. Like, after, like, someone actually explained to me, like, after 5 years of sobriety, you get your marbles back.
Mm.
So it's like, it's still kind of hard for me to process a lot of things. Like, even though I'm 37, I really feel like I'm still just leaving my 20s, because I don't think my brain was processing during that whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I feel like I stopped mentally growing at my late 20s. So if I'm being real, Miss Malika, I'm still figuring me out.
Still figuring you out. And you know what? I think um, former First Lady, always First Lady Michelle Obama
Right? My girl.
says it becoming. You know,
Mm,
it's like you just never stop growing, never
mhm,
stop becoming, never stop um making those assessments and coming to conclusions, and I think that's a beautiful thing, you
mhm,
know. So
mhm, mhm,
so that the thing that I think is so beautiful about you, Danny, is that honesty
mhm,
of, you know, you could have said, well, at the core of who I am, you know, this sort of,
mhm,
but it's saying, I don't know, because there's so many women, Black women out there who are in the same boat, but will uh, conjure up a story and an answer
mhm.
when that's not really, it's not real.
Yes, ma'am.
So I
Yes, ma'am.
appreciate that. I
Yes, ma'am.
appreciate
Thank you
that.
for that. Thank you for giving me the space to feel comfortable to say that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Mhm,
So, you know, you've created Raw Recovery, the
mhm.
community,
Yes, ma'am.
right? That's your baby.
That is my
That's your
baby.
baby.
Oh my gosh, so
So
many hopes for this thing.
when you think about it, when you think about the heart behind it, what burden or
Mhm.
vision really started this for you?
Um, I was on my 4th year of sobriety. So I guess I'll just kind of say what the show is kind of about. So
Hmm.
Raw Recovery, the community, my personal admiration and thing that I strive to help people recover from is drugs and alcohol for addiction. Obviously, that's where my core is when I'm speaking about recovery. But the show is not just about drugs and alcohol recovery in that aspect. It's about recovery from all struggles and trauma.
Hmm.
Even though I had to recover from addiction, people have to recover from loss of a loved one or incarceration, homelessness, all these
Yeah,
things that we have to bounce back from, we have to recover from.
right.
It kind of festered in me when I was in my 4th year of sobriety. Like, there's no way I went through all that for no reason. Like, there's no way that I'm the only, because I know that there's a lot
Hmm.
of people who struggle with addiction, but it's like
Yeah.
addiction silences you for like, I just felt like I was in such a silent, dark place when I was in my addiction. And I don't want that for anybody else. I don't want anyone who's currently suffering from addiction or suffering from any other sort of trauma. I
Yeah.
don't want you to have to do that quietly. It just feels so stifling to have to suffer in silence. It's just like, but if you're suffering and you can have a platform to speak about it,
Yeah.
not saying it's going to stop the suffering. I want to be clear about that, but it just
Right.
shifts it a little bit. It just feels like you're not carrying that weight on your own. And even if you do have a support system, not to say that people don't have a support system, but it's just sometimes you don't think that they can hear you the way another person who's literally been through it, the way that you have, can hear you. And so, yeah, that's what the platform is for people to just literally talk about what they're going, even if you think it's minute.
Right.
It's probably huge to the next person, and it can be discussed and talk about healing in any capacity.
This episode of Pivot with Dr. Malika is brought to you by Go Be Great and Be Nothing Less Clothing.
Equality beat.
Let's go back because you have, and let's celebrate you
Mm.
because on November 18th, I see in my notes, you celebrated, is it
Mm.
5 years of
Mm.
sobriety?
All praises due to the Most High God. Yes,
Yes,
5 years,
indeed.
5 good
Um,
years.
and so 5 years you've celebrated, 5 years you've been sober, and we
Yes, ma'am.
celebrate that
Thank you.
on November 18th. But you know, let's talk about it.
hmm
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to November 18th, 2020,
hmm
who was Danny Shields?
Now that, unfortunately, I could talk about. Um, for at least for what my brain will let me remember, because there's a lot of blackouts.
Okay.
Like there's literally people still mad at me to this day for things that
Mm,
my brain cannot even let me remember.
okay.
So anytime I'm in a position to speak, I try to say, whoever's in the sound of my voice, I still ask for forgiveness. If you could find it in your heart to forgive me for
Mm-hmm.
things that I may or may not remember. Danny 5 years ago was a trip. I was on probation. Um, I was living with an individual who actually I was my addiction started while I was still living in Pittsburgh, and I've been in New York for about 7 years now, for context. So I came to New York in my addictions, and so for the first 2 years of me living in New York, I was still in my addiction. So and one of the things about it is, like, when I'm in my addiction, nothing there's nothing, I don't have much fear. I don't I'm going to get what I want, how I want it,
Okay.
and I'm definitely not about to go through withdrawal, if I can, stop that. So Danny 5 years ago was very, very sick, very sneaky. I lied a lot,
Mm,
and I was very sad and sunk in. I was just I was looking for sleep, if I could be honest. Like, I really just wanted a really good night's sleep. My drug of
mm.
choice, also for context, is alcohol,
Okay.
and I was drinking that heavy, not knowing that alcohol causes insomnia. So I was
Mm,
very, very mean and very agitated, very unhealthy, um, literally dying on the inside.
mm-hmm.
Like, all my organs were shutting down. So I was just really, really sick. And I didn't care about anything but staying in an inebriated state. That was
Okay.
mhm,
That was you
that
prior
was
to November 18th, 2020.
this couldn't happen 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was trying to get some liquor to make sure I wasn't going through withdrawal, and I was too ashamed to be on anybody's camera. My parents had gotten just so something I didn't even wasn't used to, looking in the mirror. So Danny 5 years ago would have preferred to have a bottle of liquor right here and drink the night away, as opposed to doing something enjoyable, doing something meaningful, like having
Mm-hmm.
this conversation with you.
So let me just go here. We can, I got notes. But as you're talking, my natural thing is to really listen to you or listen to anyone who's talking and then form some questions. And I do have some questions outside of the notes.
Okay.
A lot of times, we see the patterns in our lives. We see patterns that come to life because they're patterns, right? Things that are patterns come to life in us because we've seen them in our past or in our
Hmm.
family. We call them generational curses, we call them
Uh-huh.
patterns. Is this, do you feel like, were you angry about this being something that passed down, or is this not even something that you've seen or grew up with, but this
Hmm.
was a coping
Hmm.
mechanism for you
Right.
alone and not
Hmm.
necessarily a pattern in your family?
Right. That's a really good question. So, Miss Malika, I have twofold for that. Okay. So, I didn't grow up in a household where I seen my family getting wasted or smoking and drinking. That
Okay.
was not a part of my household.
Right.
Unfortunately, addiction does run in my family,
Okay.
and addiction can skip a generation. So my grandfather rest his soul, was a wicked alcoholic.
Okay.
He's drank himself into oblivion. And then on my father, that's on my mother's side, and then on my father's side, there's addiction that ran on his side, with his siblings. So
Okay.
my mother didn't suffer from addiction, and neither did my father. Skip a generation. My brother has a gambling addiction. Well, had, excuse me. Ooh, rebuke in the name of Jesus, because he's good. He's been working on
Free.
him. So y'all
Right.
praises, right? So I don't want to even speak that, but he struggled with a gambling addiction, and then um, I I struggled with my drinking.
Mm-hmm.
So in that, no, I didn't witness it in my household. but unfortunately, it is something just like unfortunately cancer can run in your family. That's why we
Right.
stress that addiction is a disease. Not to make excuses, but that's a medical reasoning. Addiction is a
Mhm.
disease. Someone in your family can have cancer, and then your daughter may or may not have it, but then her children will have it. It can happen like that.
Right.
Um, the reason why I said my situation is twofold is not only did it run in my family, I was prescribed a narcotic. And
Mm.
I didn't, I wasn't aware that it was a narcotic. So I wasn't taking it safely, obviously. Things were happening to my body that I didn't understand. Um, like I didn't know I was going through withdrawal the first time I was going through withdrawal. Um, so when it comes to that, and I try to tread lightly because I don't want to make excuses. I'm an addict in recovery. That's just what it is. But for context, I'm explaining
Yes.
there's a family history, and I don't recall having an issue with drugs and alcohol myself until after being prescribed a narcotic. But that's just to
Wow.
say, if it's in my DNA and something I take and those things connect,
Connect.
it's up. You know what I mean? Unbeknownst to me, it's up.
Right. And so, and I want you to please, and I appreciate that so much because I think a lot of times we have folks out there who are functioning alcoholics. Could I say that? They function using alcohol every day. They go to work, they drink, and I have family members who I've seen do that.
Mhm.
Who have been able to function, get up, go to work, get dressed, do what they have to do, but they definitely need a drink.
Mhm.
And so when I was growing up, it was kind of like so and so, like in the family, so and so is a functional
Right.
alcoholic,
Mhm.
right? Um, but then I think the question for folks out there is, how do I ensure that this is not a pattern that continues?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I'm wondering, have there been times in your 5 years of sobriety that you've said, this is not going to continue? Are there things, is it like a mindset? Are there decisions, or is it just one day at a time?
Miss Malika, I really don't know, and it concerns me that I don't know because I don't have the answer. I haven't been blessed with a family yet, but I do have two young nephews that I think about that all the time. Like, if this is a thing that runs in my family, and I
Hmm.
do believe in generational curses, and I do believe in chopping them down in the name of Yahweh. I really do. I don't have the answers, and I
Yeah.
don't want to be like, I don't want to sit here and say you can't never have a drink. What type of like that's people are going to drink, and it concerns me because I don't want to be so overbearing, and especially when I do have children, that they hide things from me, and then that's a whole nother can of worms that I have to deal with. That my family is hiding things from me because they think I'm judging them, and I'm just so scared because I don't want you to go through what I went through. Like
Right.
I put my heart and soul. This is why I started Raw Recovery. Please talk to me. God,
Right.
Jesus, please. So, Miss Malika, when it comes to the babies, I don't know, but I want to be that person that they be like, I could talk to Aunt Didi. She might talk to me a lot, but she ain't gonna judge me. We're gonna talk this together. Like, what are you really thinking? Don't Oh God, whatever you're thinking, please don't be afraid to talk to me, because secrets keep you sick. That's all I can say.
You said that, and I wrote that down. Well, you said secrets, and then another point you said silence keeps us sick,
Yeah,
and do you find um, that is real among folks who are experiencing addiction?
heck
Like,
yeah.
there's something that there might be something that says, I'm going to keep this to myself,
Ooh,
and keeping it to yourself, like I have it written, silence keeps us sick.
yeah, I say that often.
It seems like shining the light, and I know that's even biblical,
Mhm,
like, God is light, and in
mhm,
him there is no
mhm,
darkness.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so there's always this idea
Ooh,
of exposing ourselves, which is why I love the title, raw, right? Just being that
Come
raw
on. Come on.
recovery, but being
Come as you are,
raw.
baby.
Exactly.
No judgment zone.
And so when do you find that people, kind of maintain that level of silence, secrecy, keep it to yourself, and
Yeah.
that just perpetuates
Yes,
the
ma'am. I do.
addiction?
Let me tell you, not only just speaking from experience, but the outpour that I've been getting, and we just got started. People are literally saying the things that I used to say when I was
Mm-hmm.
still in my addiction, and
Mm-hmm.
they're glad to be able to hear someone say it first, because you're scared. You don't want to be putting yourself out there because you don't
Right.
know how people are really going to. First of all, when you're in your addiction and you do want help, you're scared to tell people things because, one, if I'm telling you this, what are you about to do with this information? Are you finna
Yes.
talk about me and tell the next person my thing? Because I can't tell you how many times someone said, I think Danny's an alcoholic. I love that you
Right.
think that. That's so great that you have that inkling. But what you about to do with that next? Is
Mm-hmm.
you about to say, Danny, I think you're an alcoholic. Let's go to a meeting. Whatever you need, sis, let's figure it out together. Not to
Yes.
say, let me be clear, not to say I didn't have that support from some people. I want to be very clear. I did. I'm saying I know what it's also like to hear people in your ear saying those things, but not helping you come up with a solution, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can have people who might want to reach out for help, but they're just, it's the shame that you feel
Yeah.
when you're in your addiction, especially if your appearance begins to change, Miss Malika. And I share everything, even if I don't even remember that I shared it. I've shared my time and my addiction on social media, so people can have literally seen the fluctuation in my weight up and down. Like they see me
Yeah.
lose the weight, they see me gain it all the way back, and then they see me lose it again. But I tell you that sugar and that calorie and that liquor is no joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it attacks every organ and it puts weight on you. So for me, it was just the shame. Like you don't want to. And then I was dealing with some real bad characters, like put their hands on me, so and then as I've shared before, like I was walking around with black eyes and things of that nature. So how do I explain that to my mom? Like, so yeah, I'm
Right.
hiding for about a month until this black eye, because my mom's all up in my face. Where you been?
Right.
Where you at?
Right.
Smelling
Right.
me, see if it's coming out of my pores, my aunts and
Right.
stuff. So yeah, it's more so it's the shame. And then it's like, if I do tell you this, how are you going to, why do you deserve to know that I'm going through this? Because I don't need another person talking shit on me. Oh, see, Miss Malika, I'm sorry. But that's just how it be. Like, what you got to say now?
Right.
I'm
Right.
the one sick,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
So, what was that defining moment? Because something got you from um, November 1st,
Mhm.
2020 to November 18th,
Mm.
2020.
Ooh.
So, what was the defining, that was your pivot
Ooh.
experience right there. Something said, we've got to turn this thing around. This can continue. What exactly would you say was that moment? Because you said before, you said, I'm not saying that other people did not try to say, hey, Danny,
Yep.
let's go get help.
Yep.
So, but at some point you made a defining
Mhm.
decision that could not be turned,
Mhm.
that got you to this place in your life where you're on a podcast and you host a
Mm.
podcast
Mhm.
and creating safe spaces for people. So what was that for folks out there who might be watching and saying, I'm dealing with the same thing?
Mm. It's so embarrassing. It's not like I got some granddaddy-osis story, which I wish I did. Unfortunately, the Most High knows his children. When I say he knows us, he created every follicle on our heads. So
That's
he
right.
knew what was going to get me sober. My mama could have prayed till she was blue in the face in her prayer closet, which she did. Okay?
Yes.
Which
Yes.
she did. But God knows what he is doing. Like, right? So
Right.
he brought me to this city where I ain't know nobody, where nobody could be in my business, because that's really what I wanted, for people to stop being in my business, for real, for real.
Right.
brought me to a city where nobody knew me. And in New York, they hate when I say it, but everybody's weird in New York. So they didn't notice how weird I was, right?
Okay.
Like,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
like in
There's no
Pittsburgh,
judgment. There's no judgment in
come
New
on,
York.
in Pittsburgh, it's just like everybody's, even if you sober, everybody see you. Everybody's judgy. But in New York, it's just we all got something going on out here. So they not
Right.
worried about what I got going on because they too worried about what they got going on.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I was able to get that space. Still drinking, still in my stuff. But when I say he know his children, God know I love bad boys. Not no more.
But you
Back
did.
then, I was weak in the knees from Miss Malika. Them bad boys used to have me. Yeah, me. So I met a guy. Unfortunately, if I'm being honest, I met. I keep it real on my show, so I'm gonna keep it real on your show. I met the man who I moved out here with, my ex boyfriend. I was cheating on him,
Okay.
and when I say God don't play about with me, even when it comes to karma, it's like I don't do wrong by people because I know karma don't forget about me, right? So I'm over here cheating on my ex-boyfriend at the time, my boyfriend at the time, who's my ex. I'm cheating on him, falling in love with my side dude, not knowing I'm his side chick, cause he ain't told me. He know about my dude, but he ain't told me about his wife.
Okay.
So I'm the side chick the whole time. Fast forward, I'm falling deeply in love with my side guy.
Okay.
And I used to have him wrapped around my pinky. Oh my gosh, he was so in love with me. But that was before he knew how severe of an alcoholic I was. Like I was able
Mm.
to hide it like really, really well. But then we got moved to a certain location where we were always together. Like when we worked together, he would be upstairs and I would be downstairs. So we would only see each other in passing. And then in the evening when it's time to, wind down, he thought that I was only drinking at that time. Not knowing I was drinking the whole time. Like
Right.
completely
Right.
drunk. And
Okay.
in the courses that I'm taking for my drug and alcohol certificate, they don't like to use the word functioning alcoholic. But honestly, I don't know of a different phrase. So
Okay.
at that time, I considered myself a functioning alcoholic. My boss didn't know I was drunk. Everybody around me just did not know. They knew something was off. They just thought I was shot out. But that's New York. They mind their business.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so he didn't know. My side guy didn't know how severe my drinking was because again we were on two different levels at our job. But when we got transferred to a different location, he seen me all the time, and he's like, "Oh, you're always drunk." Like, right? So and
Mm.
that's not attractive. So slowly I could see him drifting away from me.
Mm.
He was just like not wrapped around my pinky no more. And I could feel the disgust. I cannot explain it, but like you can tell when someone's disgusted with you,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
when it goes from you're the apple of their eye at one point, at least it seems. Again, I
Right.
don't know, I'm his side chick, he's
Right.
wooing me because he's married and stuff, but you
Right.
can get over on somebody when they drunk. The things that he was saying to me now, sober Danny would have been like, is you who you talking
Right.
to? But when you're in
Right.
your addiction, a lot of stuff can be, And then again, some of the stuff that I remember him saying sober made sense. Like, cause it's like, why you gotta lie? I got a whole dude. Like, I told you my stuff. But anyway, fast forward again, as I'm noticing him no longer being attracted to me in that way, there was this one day in particular, November 18th, 2020. You understand?
Wow.
I'm looking this way, talking to my coworker. I haven't told this story in a while, so I'm looking to my coworker, and she don't know I'm drunk. I'm wasted. She don't know I'm drunk. She just used to me always being in a certain way, so she don't know I'm drunk, but he do, because he know me enough.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Malika, I don't know what made me turn around, but I happened to turn around. And when I turned around, this man was looking at me with the most disgusted face. Literally, his lip was curled up looking at me because I'm like, she don't know I'm drunk. She just used to me always being in a certain way. So she don't know I'm drunk, but he do because he know me enough.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Malika, I don't know what made me turn around, but I happened to turn around. And when I turned around, this man was looking at me with the most disgusted face. Literally, his lip was curled up looking at me because I'm like basically like kind of wobbling, trying to stand straight. So he could tell I'm, drunk.
Wow.
And when I turned around and seen him look at me like that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. Something, because I was so in love with him, Miss Malika. Like I was so like I don't want to lose him. Like I was ready to be done with my ex, with my boyfriend who I was still with, cheating on,
Yes.
unfortunately. And I wanted to cut it off with him and be with him. I thought that was the plan. That's what we said. That's what we talked about. Mad time.
Right.
Because again,
Right.
I don't know he's married. He's lying this whole time. So I know about withdrawal hard. I've been through withdrawal before. It's not something you want to purposely do to yourself. But when it comes to the matters of the heart, when I tell you I was so in love with that man, I was willing to risk my life, which I did. I was willing to risk my life um, to keep him. Um, I stopped drinking cold turkey, and that's a no go, especially for an alcoholic. All drugs are dangerous. I'm gonna be clear, but alcohol statistically, and I'm living proof to tell you, is the most dangerous drug out there. Not just because of how poisonous it is, but because of the access to it. Right?
Ah,
Um,
okay.
right? It's acceptable. We drink
Right.
for every occasion. Um, so on November 18th, when I seen him look at me like that, and that was not my plan to quit drinking. I want to be clear. Um, I said I'm gonna just stop drinking. I'm gonna just chill for a little bit.
Okay.
Um, 4 days later, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 days later, my body completely shut down. It, I couldn't take it, and I was just like, "Come on, Danny, get through this withdrawal. This one, you've been through withdrawal before. You could just one more time, just this last time, just get through it." And my body was like, "Nah, we ain't strong enough no more." And so I had went to the bathroom. I was at work. I went to the bathroom, um, and there was blood in my stool. And I
Mm.
remember telling myself, "This is how sick an addict is. I know I need to stop drinking, but I told myself I'm gonna stop drinking if there's ever blood in my stool." That's what I said to myself as an alcoholic. I
Wow.
said, if it ever, that's because it's like that was my sign, like it's really bad. Like even though I know it's bad, I had jaundice of the eyes, and my body was swollen. But I told myself, as long as there's not blood coming out of you, and after the November 18th and not drinking for 4 days, the withdrawal had really took a toll on my body,
Okay.
and I landed in the ICU. Just to fast forward, I landed in the ICU, and that was during the height of COVID, and again, I also struggle with, is my sobriety date November 18th or November 24th? Because even though I stopped drinking on November 18th, I made a conscious decision November 24th that I would never drink again. Because even laid up in the ICU, I was still saying, "All right, Danny, you need to slow down drinking. Girl, you need to slow down drinking. You're about to die." And I'm
Right.
still thinking
Right.
about drinking.
Right.
And so even though he's the the big the reason, I don't want to say the seed, I don't know, but the reason why I originally stopped drinking, I want to be clear, he had nothing to do with me getting sober. He didn't help me. He didn't say let's go to a meeting. None of that. But I
Right.
have to be honest about the fact of me seeing the disgust in that man's face is the reason on November 18th I said I'm going to stop drinking for a little bit. But November 24th, if you're asking me what made me say never again to a drink, my mother, I've shared this story several times. My mother came to the ER, and this is during the height of COVID when you couldn't get into the hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
And she cried her way through. Them doctors let her in, and I'm like hooked up to the machines and stuff like that. And I just remember seeing my mother, and she looked me in the eyes. Her eyes, Miss Malika, turned white, and she said, "I'm not living without my daughter."
Mm.
And that's when I said, I'm never drinking again, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not finna kill my mama over liquor, and I
Yeah.
don't want my tombstone to read, "Here lies Danny. She couldn't put down the bottle." I don't want that for me. I've said that several times too, and I'm glad that that's not my story. Uh, yeah, and I still work with a liver specialist because I had, all praises due to the Most High God, I had cirrhosis of the liver, but the no drinking is what saved me. Literally, is what saved me. And my liver specialist tells me stories every time I go. She'll share someone who didn't make it, and she shared with me a family of 5 who didn't make it, a mother of 5 who didn't make it. You think she don't want to be here with her family? Addiction is
Wow.
real, and people give alcoholics the hardest time. You know what I mean, when it comes to addiction, because even me, Miss Malika, before I had an issue, I used to not I'm like, how are you an alcoholic? Like, just don't drink.
Mm.
Like, just don't drink. And if it was that easy, you think I would have been fighting for my life in the ICU? Come on, like,
Wow.
and again, that's another reason why I created Raw Recovery, to educate,
Mm-hmm.
give some empathy, not excuse, because we hurt a lot of people in our addiction, but it's just maybe if you have that to think about, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not Danny, that wasn't her, she didn't do that. You know?
Girl, that's real.
Mhm. Mhm.
And how God is able to use anything and anyone to get his purpose, to get you aligned with the
Mhm.
purpose that he has for you.
Come on, anyone. When I say,
Anyone,
oh, man.
any look, okay, fine or ugly. It don't
No,
matter.
straight up,
He
straight
will
up.
use what is necessary
Mhm.
to get you aligned. And I think sometimes, I feel like sometimes God will say, he's in heaven saying, enough is enough. Okay.
Mm.
Um, they're ready. She ready, he ready, let's go.
Mhm.
But the thing is, and I say that because look at you now.
Miss Malika, all praises.
So you can
That just gave
take,
me goosebumps.
look at you
Mhm.
now. So you take, and I think everyone needs to understand that, we have a birth
Ooh.
date, we have an expiration date. But in between that, I've heard that. In between the dashes, what are we doing? In between, what are we doing?
Mhm.
And I think that the beautiful thing also is that you can be reborn.
Mm.
You can push reset. When I wake up in the morning, I say, Lord, thank you for allowing me to reset.
Mm. I like
Yesterday's
that.
craziness, yesterday's mess was yesterday. And
Mm.
your word says that your mercies are new every morning. And so
Mm.
when you think about it, Danny, his mercy was new every single morning.
Word.
So even in your, living in the addiction, in that, actively, I'll say that actively in the addiction, his mercy was, it doesn't go anywhere.
Mhm.
It's like every
Mhm.
morning you woke up until that day on the 18th, you said, okay, uh, his look is making me feel something, but on the 24th, it's like, I'm pushing reset.
That was it. Yeah, I gotta be honest. That's why I say I struggle with, even though
Your
I
dates,
definitely, yeah, I do. And that's me being transparent. Like, my date is, the last time I took a drink was on
was
November
it?
18th. That was the
Right,
last time I took a drink. But I wasn't done drinking. That was not in the deck of cards for me at
right,
all, you know?
right.
And even when you're in your addiction, for whoever's listening, I'm so glad what you said, Miss Malika, because sometimes you don't feel like you can hear from God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so angry with God.
Mm,
And I didn't even, I used to feel scared to say that, because I don't want to disrespect the Most High. I'm not saying it in that manner, but He gave us these emotions to feel. Like, it's
right,
not, what's the point of hiding it? Why do I have to lie? I'm angry because I didn't
right.
get it. Like, I didn't, before my addiction, Miss Malika, I was going to church. I was cleaning the church. I was part of the ministry. Like, I didn't bother nobody. Like, like, why?
Right,
I still say
right,
that. If I'm being real, I
right.
still be like, this was not. But let me tell you something, Miss Malika. Not only am I able to be talking to you today, and all praises for my podcast, but God put me in a position to have a really good job that
Mm,
I've been working since I was 16 years old, and
mm-hmm,
I because of my addiction, I've been fired from a lot of jobs in Pittsburgh.
mm-hmm.
But even when I was like thinking about it and doing the math, the position that God has put me in now, if I was still in Pittsburgh, sober or not, addiction or not, I still wouldn't be making this type of money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, and all praises the money that I am making, I'm pushing it back out. Like
Mhm.
I'm pushing it out. Like Yahweh see me. Like I'm not just sitting on it. Like I'm really, and so yeah, I was angry with God and I still be like, why you do that? But then I'd be like, dang, you made me go all the way around the mulberry bush when I could have just went straight. If you wanted me to do this, why you couldn't just tell me to go
But
help people?
right. But would
Like
you
why?
have?
Ooh, no. No. Not in this
But would
magnitude.
you have? You
Nope.
know, it's an amazing thing,
Mm-mm.
and we don't understand it. But it's like, well, I can say, but,
Nope.
would I have?
Mm.
So it's kind of like, it's a wonderful thing, and I want to ask you this. I do want to ask you this question because I think I want you to put yourself in the position of, um, sort of a counselor for someone. So there's someone listening right now,
Mhm.
okay, who feels stuck
Mm.
in addiction,
Mhm.
in a secret, in a cycle, they're ashamed of. And if you were sitting across from them, one on one, what would you tell them?
The sooner, even if you fall, even if you fall more than once, but the sooner you take that first step, the sooner you'll get to your healing.
Hmm.
Like if you keep on sitting and contemplating about doing it, that's the longer you're going to be in it. But
Hmm.
the sooner you just and again, you might not fall, but if you do, relapse is a part of recovery.
Hmm.
It's a part of you saying, okay, that didn't work for me last time. I'm gonna do it different this time.
Hmm.
And it's just you're not shame. th- It's understood that you have shame, but don't let that keep you from getting help.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know, if you don't trust the people in your circle, it's okay to step outside of your circle and get help from a stranger, because sometimes it's easier to talk to a person you don't know,
Yeah, that's
and
good.
you don't have to feel obligated to share all your bearings and your truths to your family, because that's embarrassing. I understand that too. So
Hmm.
however recovery looks for you, work don't be ashamed to just take that first step. The sooner you take that first step, the closer you're going to be to getting healthy, to getting some type of healing.
That's good. That's good. I want to shift a little bit and talk about, raw recovery, the community. Um, you are the host,
Mhm.
and for someone out there who, you when you think about it, right?
Mhm.
There are all kinds of podcasts out there. Tell us a little bit about raw recovery, the
Mhm.
community,
Mhm.
um, and why.
Mhm.
Why create the space?
Yes, ma'am. So raw recovery, I make sure that I had a two parts to the title. So raw recovery, gonna keep it raw, gonna keep it real, very transparent, no filtering, no sugarcoating. We don't have time for that. People are dying every day because of what, Miss Malika? Silence keeping them sick,
Silence.
right?
Yeah.
So we created this platform, um, so that people can, one, at least if you're not ready to speak, you can just listen into
Mhm.
the raw stories that we're talking about. And when I say raw,
Mhm.
I'm talking about things that people can't even fathom, or that take place in the course of an addiction, right? And my addiction was short. I had a 7-year run. There's people who are fighting this battle for decades and decades. You know what I mean? So they can have stories that could surpass even mine. Um,
Mhm.
but then the second part of the title is the community. We we're trying to create a space where everyone does feel welcomed, even if the things that
Mhm.
you're hearing are hard to hear. Feel judged. You're going to see someone who looks like you,
Mhm.
who possibly thinks like you. You're going to see people who don't look like you and possibly don't think like you. I
Right.
was recently saying to one of my next guests, um, I, it was important for me to get her on the show because I don't want anyone to think that the demographic only um, is targeted to the Black and Brown community.
Okay.
So we need to make sure that everyone's voice gets heard. And again, when I say it's called the community, not just addicts get to have the floor. You know, we did a lot of stuff. We've hurt a lot of people. We've hurt a lot of people, right?
Mm.
So those people get to have the floor too. They're a part of the community too. I have a one young lady who's coming on the show just this week, actually on Friday, and her both her parents struggled with alcohol. Unfortunately, her father has passed. Her mother still struggles. Her mother's about 6 months sober now, but for her, it's like when she told me 6 months sober, I'm like, what? Wow, that's amazing. I don't know her
Right.
mother. Her mother didn't raise
Right.
me. I didn't grow up in that household. For my friend who I'll be interviewing, this is just like I hope she stays. You know what I mean? Like she loves
Mhm.
her mother, but she's been through it. So she
Right.
gets to have the floor to tell me how much you can't stand addicts, and that's fair. That's only
Right.
as raw as it can get, right? So,
Right. Right.
um, but we don't just speak about addiction. We speak about recovery from all aspects. People have different traumas and struggles, such as homelessness, incarceration, um, loss of employment. People don't think about that. Like, well, of course, and when you're in it, right, you're thinking about it. But like having to recover, and I'm also speaking from experience, having to recover from zero and starting over, that is a mental thing. Like it's just like you want to give up every time because it's just like you seem every time you feel like you getting um 10 one step ahead, you get 10 steps back,
10 steps
so
back.
yeah, so we give everybody the space. And even if there's things that I haven't thought of that a person feels that they have struggled with and it has been traumatic for them, put it in, write us, we'll give you the
Yes.
floor, because you're not the only one who's going. That's why I said this ain't gonna be about
Right.
me. This ain't the Danny show. It's Danny the
Right.
host, but it's not the woe is me, cry me a river, because I done lived it. I know my story, but I want to make sure other people get their story out because there's a lot of people who are still very silent. Addiction keeps us. That's why I got a podcast, girl. I got a lot to say. Addiction kept me silent for a long time. I got a lot of them things to talk about.
I just think that's so important. When I heard you say that, I thought silence makes you sick. You said silence keeps us sick.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, ooh, does she even know what she's saying? Because
Mhm.
someone out there needs to know that it's time to open their mouth
Right, right,
and
right, right.
say it. And I know that there are a lot of things that come with that.
Mhm.
Vulnerability, right? Being
Yes.
vulnerable,
Yes.
trusting folks with what you say. If I come out and tell you, I'm expecting you to help me or say
Yes.
something.
Yes.
But that is so true. And I love that and I appreciate
Mhm.
that so much.
Mhm.
Where can Are you on every Friday? Tell us a little bit about where folks can catch Raw Recovery, the community.
Mhm. So, it's not live. We do pre-recorded episodes, and then we post about every week and a half. Try to stretch it out so that we don't become too annoying to the people. I know there's a million podcasts, and I don't want people to be overbearing by my platform. So and then you can check us out at your leisure. It's whenever. It's
Right,
not going anywhere. It's on YouTube. We would love you to subscribe for free, and check
right.
us out. But we got so much coming up, Miss Malika. It's not just in the studio. Very shortly, we'll be posting a segment of the show called "Raw Recovery Hits the Streets." Um,
Mm, I like
yeah,
that.
it's up, Miss Malika. We're doing a lot of good work in the community. We're interviewing people with the utmost respect. Um, to me, anonymity is very important.
Mhm.
When I was in my addiction before I got to New York, specifically in Pittsburgh, I looked crazy. I was in the streets, and there have been people who seen me sleep like called my mom, told me that I was out in the street sleep, you know? So it's just like out of respect for them, yes, we're recording them, but they'll be blurred out the whole time. Like their faces will be blurred out. But you can
Mhm.
still hear their story. You can still hear their
That's
struggle.
good.
Yeah. And while we're there, we give them some funding. We give them resources to food pantries and things of that nature. And moving forward, um, we're going to start tapping into getting some resources so that we can really give them like things that'll help like with longevity, like, you know, care packages and things like that. Um,
Nice.
yeah, like socks and toiletries and, you know, just something so they don't have to go a different route to get it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's what this platform is. It's for everybody. And Miss Malika, if you know anything about me, m- my past isn't always welcoming to everyone. Um,
Mm.
but when it comes to addiction, I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you black, white, purple. I don't care how old you
Yeah.
are, how
Yeah.
young you are. I don't care. My to the side, whatever I do or don't think. If you're asking for help, I promise you, if I ain't got it, we're gonna figure it out together.
Find it.
I
Right.
promise you.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
So we can, let's see. We have you on YouTube. We can see you at Raw Recovery underscore the community.
Yes, ma'am.
IG and TikTok. You can catch Danny on TikTok and IG at
Yes, ma'am.
Raw Recovery the community.
Mhm, mhm.
And I want people to get this. I want people to get this. I want people to check you out.
Please,
And
please.
definitely subscribe and follow and all of the things, as they
Yes,
say,
yes, yes, yes.
and support this. I say sometimes I think like support this. To me, this is a form of ministry. I don't know
Mm,
if you would call it that, but I think
mhm.
that
That's
anytime we
what's up.
are pulling people out of darkness and into
Mhm,
light,
mhm,
it opens up their ability to be able to seek, light, to seek God, to seek wholeness.
mhm.
And you might even be the person to plant that seed or water whatever is, because sometimes
Ooh.
people have experienced someone telling them, and then you come and water that, right?
Mm.
And water that ground. And then we know that, scripture says God
Ooh.
brings the increase, right?
Mhm.
So I love this. I want people to check you out. I want people to definitely connect with you. And and here's the thing too. I want to give you this opportunity. Um, we could probably do a part two of this,
Mhm. Let's
and maybe we
go.
will.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Yeah.
But before we go, I want you to have that last word. What is the one thing that you didn't say that you want folks to know about this thing called Raw Recovery, or
Mm.
Danny's story, Danny's pivot experience? What's that one last thing that you want folks to know that will really plant the seed or encourage or water?
I want to let everybody remember that 5 years ago, there would definitely be liquor in here. There would definitely be liquor in my book bag. There would be liquor in anywhere that I knew that I was going to be for a long period of time because I did not want to go through withdrawal. And 5 years down the line, all praise is due to the Most High God. I'm able to now share those type of, because no one would think about that, like, right? Like
Right.
th- that's one of our tactics to always have something, right? So that, and now being able to share those type of things on this podcast, Danny 5 years ago would have never believed that's a thing. Like,
Mm,
like me talking about my drinking habits on my own platform. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
and now I'm getting like I get like every type of emotion you can feel when it comes to this new project with this podcast. Like I feel all the high and I feel super anxiety, but at least I get to feel those feelings. Like,
Yeah.
what if it don't work? Of course, the devil going to do what he do, but in
Right.
Yahweh name it's up. So, but at least I get to feel that. You know what I mean? At least I get
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
feel scared or nervous or angry as opposed to being completely blacked out and numbed and trying to only worry about where the liquor is at that I got stashed. And then mad because I can't remember where I stashed it. You
Wow.
know, I'm
Wow.
telling you, it's different for me now. That's what and that's what I want to say to the people, like, because I used to hate that, Miss Malika, when people wanted me to get sober and stuff. Not that they weren't saying the truth, but it's just like I don't want to hear about your happiness. I just don't want to hear
Yeah.
that right now. I don't want to hear about the magic about getting sober because it's not working. But if
Yeah.
I can just tell people to look at it like that, eventually you'll have a story to tell the next person because you really know how hard it is to kick that monkey, to get the monkey off your back. And not just with addiction, anything you're recovering from. We
Yeah.
addicts, we selfish. We ain't the only ones who recovering from suffering something. Like people are recovering from a lot of things. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Just just recovery in general.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
point of it. Yes, ma'am.
Well, Danny, don't go anywhere, but I want to thank you so much
Okay.
for being on Pivot with Dr. Malika. You
Thank you
did.
for having me. Oh
Oh,
my goodness.
this is great.
For
And we'll have
sure.
to talk offline about how we can come back and connect and hear about the great things that you're doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I can't wait till you hit the streets though. That's gonna be,
Woo.
I like that. So we're gonna have to stay tuned, but
We're going to be showing those
stay
soon.
tuned.
Definitely.
But I appreciate you so much. Thank you again. I want to show folks where they can reach you one more
Yes.
time. And Raw Recovery underscore the community on YouTube, and then
Mhm.
on IG and TikTok at Raw Recovery, the
Check us
community.
out.
Danny S or Danny Shields, thank you so much.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you hold tight, okay? Don't go
All
anywhere.
right.
Y'all, listen. I, here's the thing, and I don't have any statistics. But when you think about it, there is someone that you are close to, whether it's a family member, a friend of a friend, somebody's family, somebody who has experienced or is dealing with addiction of some sort. And this kind of community that is out there, um, on the internet, on, IG, on various platforms, this is what they need to hear. This is the kind of community they need to be a part of, to hear about the stories of someone who is able to come out, someone who's able to see the light. The language she's using, folks who are in addiction, they know it, they hear it, it resonates. And we need to start steering folks to the communities online that are going to help them, that are going to support their ability for them to see who they could be and who they want to be and not who maybe they are at the time. So I'm hands down standing 10 toes down in support of Raw Recovery, the community, and I need you to do the same. So please check out Danny S. She's got some great things happening and great things to come. And we celebrate the work that she is doing out there in New York City, but reaching a global scale. As you know, as I said before, we talk to folks who have intentional and unexpected changes in their life, but they're still winning. And Danny S is winning.